Welcome to the Autism Advocate Podcast. I'm your host, Laura Hales. If you're looking for tips on how to advocate for and understand your autistic child in a more meaningful way, you've come to the right place, and we're so happy to have you join us. Hello and welcome back. It's so good to see you. Today's listener question comes from my friend, Jessica. Hi, Laura! Exclamation points. Hello, Jessica! Last year, my oldest son was evaluated and diagnosed ADHD and autism. It has been wonderful. I know how to speak with him better. Anyway, we are scheduled to have my youngest son evaluated in December. I really struggled last year with my son's social worker pushing ABA therapy and Autism Speaks. How do I let her know we're not interested in it? How do I tell her we're not interested in either? And maybe how they aren't helpful. Last year, I just pushed her off, and I want to be able to speak better on the subject. Thank you so much, Jessica. First, for any listeners, the parent is describing to me that they don't support or want to use ABA therapy or use resources, etc. from Autism Speaks. So I will be answering the question in a way that is supportive of that parent's preferences. If you have questions about why this parent may feel this way or why other autistic adults may feel this way, a good episode to check out would be the puzzle piece controversy, which just came out today, actually. I believe it's episode 9. And again, I'm not saying that that's, objectively right or wrong. It's just there is some history and understanding where people are coming from and responding in a compassionate way, and having information before you make decisions about what you affiliate and what you support is always a great idea. Back to her question. So, I really struggled last year with my son's social worker pushing ABA therapy and Autism Speaks. How do I tell her we're not interested in either, and maybe how they aren't helpful? Last year I just pushed her off. So one thing that being the parent of autistic children has taught me is to not be passive aggressive in my communication, especially to people who are dealing with my child, whether it's education-wise, therapy-wise. That doesn't mean that I am rude or that I am condescending or that I name call or that I make any assumptions or, nothing that's insulting, but I am direct. I am direct and kind. I also include with all of my direct communication how grateful I am for their support, for their efforts, and those are all very genuine and sincere. So in response to this, Jessica, I would say, be as kindly direct as you can. And again, that doesn't mean passive aggressive. It may be verbiage like, I really appreciate how willing you are and how driven you are to help me and my son find resources. At this time, we are not interested in ABA therapy or Autism Speaks for various reasons. You may know about some of the controversies that they are a part of. But other things like, A, B, C, D, E, we would love some information about. Ta-da! Now I get easier said than done. Sometimes when you're in the moment, you just can't find the language, you get nervous. I totally hear that. Maybe an email would be more appropriate. I often feel that when we communicate, we worry more about what we're saying than the person is going to read into it who is receiving it. Now, that's not all people, of course. There are some people who are and I don't say this in a bad way, who are very sensitive, who are trying very hard to read into and understand maybe what's more there than exactly what you're saying. They're trying to read deeper. And sometimes that can come from a great place, but it can often lead to assumptions, confusion, and miscommunication. So what I have found is that I am very honest and genuine, but still kind and grateful. And luckily this person is coming from a place of wanting to help you. There are some times where you'll have people in the lives of you and your child who don't want to help you, and you still have to be professional, courteous, appropriate, and still directly communicate. And that's difficult because sometimes I want to just, you gotta hold me back. But I also know that's not in my child's best interest. And that's what drives me to maintain my composure, to think clearly, be level-headed, and have everything based in evidence rather than purely my feelings. Now, in this case, where particularly it's a social worker, so you're not, there isn't like a bare minimum amount of things that they need to be providing for your child that your child is benefiting or struggling with daily, like you would need to communicate with for a school. So I would imagine there'd be more urgency if it was communication to somebody in a school setting. But when it comes to a social worker, I think a very kind email that just articulated sort of the sentiment that I had mentioned before would be totally acceptable. And if she responds with, "Oh my gosh, I have no idea about any of that," or he, I don't know, push her off. Okay, so yes, female. If she said that she has no idea, sending them a couple articles and resources and just saying, it's what we have chosen for our family. Because not all autistic adults and not all parents of autistic children are super offended by Autism Speaks or ABA therapy. There are many families who have, benefited quite greatly from ABA therapy. It's all about being informed and then making those decisions on behalf of you and your child, and being as involved as possible, making sure that every step, every decision that's being made, that you are informed and aware of how it's being made and what's being done. I hope that helps. I appreciate your question. And I'd say in a broader sense, this is such a wonderful way to communicate with people, period. I would say that it's not always worth your time when it's, just a stranger on the internet or something like that. But where it's a almost working relationship like this, and, they are at your service, so to speak, that there is such a way and method of communicating clearly, kindly, and with gratitude, but directly. And what I love is that I can always feel okay if they choose to misinterpret or add malice to anything that I say, because I know I am saying this with kindness and genuine sincerity in my heart. So I can, if they take it the wrong way, I can be like, that's not what I meant. I hear you. I really meant exactly what I said. Thank you for your efforts. So, and that's, again, for any setting interaction that you have, it's been a real benefit to me to be able to think and function that way, especially when I'm advocating on behalf of my child. The more heated, argumentative, again, name-calling accusations that are not founded on evidence, the more you discredit yourself, and the more you get labeled as just like kind of crazy, or the helicopter mom, or she's just, trying to give me a hard time. And your kid needs you. Your kid needs you to be as credited, in quotes, as possible. You need to appear as the most reasonable person in the room. I hope that's helpful, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Want to submit a question? Email us at theautismadvocatepodcast@gmail.com. Follow our social media outlets and check out our shop featuring my Autism Acceptance, Children's Illustrated books, and other fun autism acceptance items. Don't forget, I'm rooting for you, and we'll see you next time.